Yeah, 5A1 is a law enforcement-related injury to Abe Mukata that involves one sergeant and 6 other officers. I would urge you again to think about this as not just the issue of those individual officers, but begin to think about this as a systemic problem. Over the course of the year, you look at 6, 8, 10 officers a week. That mounts up to quite a substantial number of officers that you deal with in these closed session items. And I think that you need to think about it as not just the individual officers, but in terms of a policy problem and a pattern and practice of the LAPD that needs to be dealt with in a more serious and deeper way. I don't know anything about Mr. Mukata, but the fact that 7 officers involved and apparently in injuring him seriously enough to require medical treatment means that something went wrong there in terms of how the police operate. So I think that you should think about it as not just the failure of that particular sergeant, but those particular individual officers, but something more serious. And I think that you're, again, derelict in duty if you're not dealing with it and coming up with a policy that will prevent beatings, killings, and shootings by the LAPD at the level that they've taken place over the last number of years. Item 5A2 is an officer-involved shooting, and I don't know if the involved party, Mays, was shot and killed or just shot and wounded. It only involves one officer, but LAPD historically has reduced its number of shootings slightly, but the number of shootings that result in death, the percentage has gone up. I've been living in Los Angeles since 1982, and when I first started following this, LAPD pretty consistently shot about a person a week. They would shoot about 50 people a year, and they killed about a dozen people, about a person a month. And now they consider a reduction when they only kill 13 or 16 in a year. So that's a problem. That's a serious ongoing, and it's a pattern and practice that has to be looked at. It's not just this one police officer who shot this one individual. And if you treat it that way week after week, you're blinding yourself to a reality that has to be dealt with. So I urge you again, when you take this up in closed session, that you think about it as a serious policy problem, a serious pattern and practice of mistreatment and criminalization and targeting of black and brown people in this community by the LAPD that results in these killings, shootings, and beatings that has to be dealt with.
If there are no other comment cards, the Board of Police Commissioners will now recess into closed session to discuss item number 5A1 and 2 in accordance with Government Code 54957.
You need some help, Pam?